Hey, Purple People Podcast listeners, welcome to the Purple People Podcast. I said that too many times in a row. This is episode number 227, Roads Closed on Palmer Drive. Written by Kyle Smith. Adam Carlson is out this week, but that is okay. We are going to try to man the ship without him.
Welcome to Kyle Squared on the Purple People Podcast. We have Mountain Dew and Vikings football talk to get to, so it's going to be good.
He's a good combination. Before we get going, we have to plug everyone who is listening to us on YouTube. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers so that we can switch over to a YouTube live format. We can do a lot of cool things. So if you are listening, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Right now, we only got 322 of you. It's still a lot of people, but we need to hit that 1,000 mark. So tell all your friends, tell all your enemies to subscribe to us at the Purple People Podcast.
And just so you guys know, we're just going to keep bugging you until you do it. So thank you for those who have. If you haven't had time, 20 seconds. You can do that one day. I'll save that for later. That was really weird and gross. I'll save that for later. I always tend to get on my phone at the worst time. So while you're doing some of those activities, just go on over to YouTube and click like on YouTube so you can get these updates. Because when we get 1,000 subscribers, we're going to get to do even more cool stuff. You guys know we used to record this on a Skype audio call. Now it's a live YouTube feed. So it's only going to get better if you help us make it get better. Already in the chat, I decided to set my game up because I do nothing but sit here and rant on the show. I've got the YouTube chat open. Scott Schwab is already here with us. What's up, Scott? Nice to have you around. Hopefully we get some more people in there. But without further ado, take one out of Adam Carlson's book. My favorite part of the show, quick hits.
Quick hits.
The first one came as a shock to me. Shout out to my little brother. He's a Chargers fan. The Chargers just picked up our recently waived / released running back, Ronnie Hillman. I thought he did all right for us. This wasn't supposed to be the second coming of Adrian Peterson. I think we all know that. So not really sure why they got rid of him unless AP's coming back soon. I don't know. They did add defensive end Stephen Weatherly to the active roster from the practice squad, which is cool. Mike Zimmer adding D lineman doesn't make me upset at all, but I was kind of sad to see Ronnie Hillman go. When he came over, I was kind of like, what the hell? And then he stepped in, he contributed, he did what he was asked to do. It's kind of a shock, man. What do you think?
I was surprised by it. I know a lot of pundits called it like the worst signing in the history of free agency when the Vikings signed Ronnie Hillman, and I never got that hate to begin with. I thought that he performed, probably right on par with what you would expect from him. Honestly, maybe a little bit better than Matt Asiata, to be kind of honest with that one. I go, the team is not going to roll with only 2 running backs for the rest of the season. So that, to me, we can speculate to the next quick hit that we got coming up is that Adrian Peterson has to be close to coming back because they're not just going to go with McKinnon and Asiata for the duration of the season. The next quick hit is that Adrian Peterson has resumed light running with the team. That is an awesome sign that he's getting closer and closer to coming back. He is right on track for a potential return in December. If I was going to guess, and this is just me speculating, but I'm going to guess on December 1st against the Dallas Cowboys. What a perfect opportunity for Adrian to come back. We know that he lives in Texas and that he grew up a big Dallas Cowboys fan. So that if there's any team that he wants to come back and prove that he's still in the NFL, that he can still produce and still be a big factor for the Minnesota Vikings, he's going to want to come and play against the Cowboys. Plus, we know he's going to have a lot of friends and a lot of family in attendance. You look at that. You look at the fact that they just waived Ronnie Hillman. I'm going to go ahead and say that I'm expecting Adrian to be back for that Dallas game. I don't know. What do you think on that one?
I'm plugging the page right now. I don't know if he's going to be back that quickly, but there's one thing we've learned over the years is don't count AP out. That would certainly be the game we need him the most. I think of all the games that we have left, we're at 10 games now. We have 6 left. We have Detroit, Chicago, Green Bay. We have 2 AFC South games. And, the Cowboys. That's the most important game because they're arguably the best NFL team right now. I was telling Kyle before we started this, Squirrel moment. Shout out Eric Grindall from joining the chat. Scott Schwab is in there. Everybody's getting all the love right now. Glad you guys joined us. But, yeah, the Cowboys have the best record. They're on a roll right now. I think they've won 9 in a row, which is insane. So, yeah, if he was going to make a comeback and we needed him, it definitely is that game. I don't know if I don't want him to be out there if he's not ready to be out there. You know what I mean? I don't want him to re-injure himself. But, I mean, he came back from ACL surgery in 8.5 months. So a meniscus to him feels like it's about time for him to come back now with the way he always recovers.
Mm-hmm. And, I mean, it's not like Ronnie Hillman had outright messed up for the team. I mean, there were a couple times that I feel like they put him in bad positions with play calls and whatnot where he was just not in a chance to succeed. But it's not like he never fumbled. He never had, a play where you could have pointed to him and went, that's the reason why we lost this game. So why else would they get rid of him if Adrian wasn't close to coming back? And, I know we've talked maybe the team could move on from him. And every time you say that, you have to eat your own crow a little bit and backtrack a little bit because the running game is very, very stagnant. And I'm looking forward to seeing Adrian come back and seeing if he can be that extra piece that this team needs because we desperately need to get something done on the ground. I was talking to my friend Paul at work the other day, too, about how even if Adrian is back and he's not at 100%, say he's at 85%, and he's only averaging 3.5 yards per carry, the law of averages with Adrian Peterson should dictate that at some point he's going to break one for an 80-yard touchdown run. And right now we're not getting that with McKinnon or Asiata. So I will take 3.5 yards per carry with Adrian Peterson with the idea that he's AP, he's going to break a big one, or you're going to catch him as a receiver with like only a linebacker covering him, and he's going to catch it and he's going to run someone over and make a big play happen. I'll take those odds with AP out there on the field any day of the week right now.
Yeah, you got to look at. I know there's supposed to be quick hits. Let's just get into a little bit of debate here. Eric Smith is in the chat as well. He doesn't think he's going to be back that quick. He's eyeing a week 14. That's what I'm thinking too, man. I don't want him to come back too early, but I'll definitely take him when he's ready. And if he's ready for the Cowboy game, let's do it. But speaking of AP, what the dynamic that AP is going to bring back whenever he decides to come back and is healthy is, you got to think about Sam Bradford and this receiving game that we have going on. Diggs is going to get covered, maybe double teamed sometimes. You're going to have Adam Thielen come out and shine. Cordero Patterson's going to get a lot more looks. Maybe Treadwell will finally get involved. Who knows? But when Adrian is in the game, something's going to happen. And this is a generic statement, but I can't predict everything. I'm not a psychic. But either, like you said, he's going to break one off or Bradford's going to have a day. And you're going to have to pick your poison on who you want to stack. Because let's be honest, I would never say anything negative about Matt Asiata and Jerick McKinnon. They're very good players. But compared to Adrian, they're kind of like D-minus players. I think with him in the game, it's really going to frustrate the teams like it used to back in the day because Teddy didn't really have the long arm to get it down the field as much. I mean, the stats were there. He didn't throw the ball down the field that much. But with Sam, the accuracy is there like it was with Teddy, and you have a vertical threat. So it's kind of like the perfect storm. It's what we've been wanting. I think that's the missing key to that 4-game losing streak. Might have been cut to 2 or just 1 had Adrian still been around. Because like they said in the press conference today, man, you can't let the defense – you can't rely on the special teams and the defense to make plays every game. Yeah. So the offense is going to have to do more. And obviously when AP comes back, that won't be a question. We'll be rolling a little bit more.
I've always thought that Adrian accounts for at least 2 wins by himself because we've seen some pretty awful, terrible Vikings teams. His flat out, well, I'm going to put this offense on my back and carry them to a victory. Now we know he's getting injured and he's getting up there in age, but I would really like to see. Oh, excuse me, I'd like to see that dynamic back with the team.
It'll be exciting, all the nonsense that's happened over the last couple of years, personal opinions aside, he's a Hall of Famer, and his presence has definitely been missed because we've been in the very worst in the league at rushing and not the best at passing. So he will improve both of those areas for us. But in case you're living under a rock or you just rely on us to get your Viking news, what up, Sean Reynolds? He's in the chat as well. I'll get to your comments in a minute. We beat the Arizona Cardinals. Pretty good football team, good coach, good defense, good running backs, good wide receivers. Carlson Palmer's not like threatening anymore, but they did go to the NFC Championship game last year. So
he's still Carson Palmer,
He's still, yeah. I won't poop on him too much, but we won this weekend, and I don't really know what else to say besides the defense. Just they beat him up all day. I'll steal this quick hit from you. Xavier Rhodes was named a top player on Pro Football Focus. Rhodes was thrown at 7 times, and Carson Palmer had a passer rating of 0. If you guys missed it, he had I think 101 yard interception return for a touchdown. It was absolutely incredible. It was a momentum shifter. Mike Zimmer said that in the conference. It was early in the game, but it was definitely a momentum shifter. It was in the red zone, obviously, for it to be 101 yards. So it was nuts, man. He had a game. He had 2 picks on the day. He was definitely having a career game thus far. So shout out to Xavier Rhodes. He's getting a lot of recognition now. And someone else was on Pro Football Focus. Mr. Kyle West will tell you about him because he had a day as well.
Hey, Daniil Hunter, not a guy that we talk about a lot, but we should because he is really super good for this team in a very quiet kind of way, but you give him a couple years, and I think he will be a big-time breakout star for this team. He was ranked 10th on the Pro Football Focus Top 10 Players of the Week. So shout out to Daniil Hunter for going out there and quietly getting it done in a big way for this team. That's a very Mike Zimmer kind of thing to do, is to take a guy like Daniil Hunter and maximize the talent and get the most out of him. That's what Zimmer does so well as a coach, is to get the most out of his players.
I love it, man. He's a rising star. I think it's been said by a couple of people, including Mike Zimmer. He's definitely going to be the best defensive player at some point on this team. He just has that kind of talent. He's just going to have to get the time and to get there. B-Rob's still playing very well, so he's not going to take his spot just yet. But he's going to get there, man. He's looking really, really good. There's so much going on in this chat. Oh, my gosh. Everybody is in consensus that if we win on Thursday, we will win the North. I agree, too. Not Vikings news, but NFC North news. Jay Cutler is done for the season. I think he's done as a Bear. I think he's going to be traded. I think that ship has finally sailed. Yeah, I agree with you guys. I think if we win Thursday, we win the North. I think we can beat a Jay Cutler-less Bears in Minnesota. The Packers look awful right now.
I should hope so.
So if we can go to Detroit and find a way to play like we did Sunday, we should be all right. And Scott Schwab asks, is this a tattoo of a mustache on my finger for Movember? I wish, sir. I love dogs. This is for my job, but I should get one right here on the same finger, put it like that. And there's oh, God. We won't get into that one just yet. Eric Smith and Scott Schwab are talking about Sam versus Teddy. Just wait till the offseason, guys. That's literally the only thing we're going to talk about.
Every episode in the offseason is just going to be Sam and Teddy.
Yeah, that's what it's going to be. So
that's our ultimate.
We'll get into that later.
Let's see. Last quick hit is the Sunday. The Minnesota Vikings paired with a nonprofit organization called Master to pack boxes of non-perishable foods to be distributed throughout the Twin Cities community. They provided a bunch of meals for folks who need them. Fantastic stuff that the team does. They had some former players were out there, some cheerleaders. They had some fans that were helping do this. I like to see the team do this, especially around Thanksgiving. Give back to the folks who need it.
I love it. There's a coworker of mine. We're actually talking about doing that. I've never done it before, and I think it's about time that I get out and do that, especially since I'm here and I'm stateside. So that's really awesome, man. That's one of the many reasons why you got to love this team. They always do stuff for the Minnesota community, and I don't know, they're awesome. I love it. I love stuff like that. Positive news and positive news about the Vikings. Absolutely my favorite thing to talk about.
Also like the idea of being fired, which people talking about in the chat. I've never thought that he was that good of a coach. He had the benefit of Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers playing really incredible football for him. They could have made Leslie Frazier look good. I was talking about McCarthy was not that good of a coach.
Fun fact for you guys, because I'm a football maniac. I love all football, but Vikings are obviously my heart and soul. I don't think he's going to get fired, but he's been to the postseason like every year, minus 1 year he's been there, and he's won 1 Super Bowl. He got was it the NFC Championship game a couple years ago? Yeah, it was Seattle and New England. So he got close that year, but it's usually been either a win and a loss, a one and done, or if they had a bye, they usually lose in the divisional round. So I get it. You could be really good through the postseason or the regular season, but I agree, man. He hasn't lived up to the expectations that he could have with the roster that because they have a great general manager. They always draft pretty good, but I don't know. Yeah, they look like a different team.
I seen a really funny meme online that was like, you guys have Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers, and you only won 2 Super Bowls.
I know. It's crazy.
And they're like, that's crazy. And like, who are we to talk? We know. We get it. Vikings.
You guys can murder me in the comments right now, but we'll talk about the Packers for less than 1 minute. Mm-hmm. I think what might have finally happened, people don't realize this, Aaron Rodgers is 33. So he's getting up there now. He's not, Tony Romo where he has tons of injuries and he's almost, 38. But his window is going to start closing soon. And here's the thing. You saw RG3. You saw Russell Wilson. Even though Russell Wilson still is a fantastic – I think he's the best running and throwing quarterback combination. I think the thing that Aaron Rodgers tries to do too much is he tries to backyard football it too much. And I really, really, really don't know if he can continue to do that. I think if he can stand in the pocket and deliver, because he's accurate. He's so accurate. He's got a cannon. If he can just do more of that instead of trying to force things, you know what I mean? I don't know, but yeah, there were rumors that McCarthy's going to get fired. I really don't care. They can do whatever they want because I hate the Packers, but it's fine. And I want to give a shout out to all the Viking fans that have endured all these heartbreakers over the years. One of my Packer fans from work and one of my previous coworkers are like, I don't know what's wrong with us. We're awful this year. I was like, oh my God, you guys have a losing season. Are you going to be okay? Welcome to the club. I don't feel sorry for you whatsoever. You need to experience this for a few years. We'll go ahead and take the division while you guys figure out your life. So, but anyways, talk about the Packers way too much. We beat the Cardinals this Sunday. We dominated them, man. It was a kind of a dogfight there for a little while. We did start to kind of mess up at the end, but ultimately the defense showed up, special teams showed up, the offense played well, the offensive line played good. It was an awesome game. So
we kicked a 4-game we kicked that 4-game losing streak that we were on, and you can sit back and you can look at the record. Yeah, you can look at the record now, and you can say 6-4 is honestly a really respectable record. I think if the 4 losses hadn't come all in a row, you'd be looking at 6-4, and you'd be going, "Yeah, I'm okay with that." But because they were 4 in a row, they really sucked. But I mean, now you can step back and look at it and go 6-4. We're honestly still right on track with right where we need to be. It's nowhere near. Crisis averted for the meantime, folks. We can go out and we can play this coming game against Detroit is for the division at this point. Really, really super important game. We'll get to that a little bit later on. We got game balls and donkeys to give away. So let's mix it up. Let's do a donkey first.
All right, I'll do my donkey.
We never do negative first. Let's do negative first, and let's get to positive.
Absolutely. Trey Waynes, I love the kid. He's a good pick. He cost us a lot of penalties Sunday, and there's a lot of grabbing going on. He's got to realize that the transition from college to the NFL, you're going to have to stop that past your 5 yards, man. He cost us 2 penalties. I don't know if they were in a row, but 2 penalties on the same drive that ended up in Arizona points. Arizona, they're not a bad team. They're not super-duper explosive. I think the Redskins might have a better offense than they do, even though they have better players. But if you get to a New England and a Dallas who can just score whenever they want, or name any playoff team that's going right now, Atlanta's got a fantastic offense. You can't have costly penalties like that and make it even easier. It's going to be a hard enough time to stop them from going down the field, much less giving them shorter field position. So, Trey Waynes, I'm sorry, bro. I didn't like the penalty Sunday. I didn't like the back-to-back penalties. So, he gets my donkey this week, man. Could have played a little better.
I agree. It's a bit of a learning curve for Trey Waynes, but he's getting there. He's got a good coach. Got a good mentor, actually, too, and Xavier Rhodes to learn from, who's had a lot of the same early on struggles that Trey Waynes has had with this team. For my donkey, I got a couple different things going on this week. I'm going to give it to the Fox sound guy for getting ran over in the pregame tunnel. because the most Vikings thing that could have happened would have been for like Linval Joseph to fall over him and tear an ACL and be out for the season. That potentially could have been like disastrous for us. I'm glad the dude's okay, but he gets my donkey for the week. Like, what are you doing? You have one job. What are you doing in front of the tunnel when the team runs out?
Glad he's okay. Glad nothing happened. But if he would have injured one of our star players, that guy would have had some serious heat coming his way. So yeah, I'm totally with you on that one.
Yeah, just man, be in your spot, dude. Oh, don't be doing that. All right, I'll let you kick us off with the give us your game ball, Mr. Smith.
Cordero Patterson, what is up, Flash? I hit him up on Snapchat. He hit me back. I was super happy. I told him congrats. He balled out. He made a couple of good catches in the game. Had another awesome kick return right after Xavier Rhodes had an interception return for a touchdown. Fun fact, I posted it on the podcast page. Vikings made history this weekend with the longest pick six and the kick return back-to-back. I think it's been over like 50 years, something like that. But it was on the Snapchat story. You don't even have to have a specific team or anything like that. Snapchat does individual stories from different agencies now. And it was on there today. It's probably still on there now. You guys should check it out. Yeah, it was incredible. Cordero's coming into his own, and I said this in the chat with Scott, Eric, and everybody that's in there now. The best thing that I saw this weekend, minus us, defensively dominating Carson Palmer all game. There's a time, and we said this about Diggs. I said that he's borderline cocky, but he's very confident, and he's very, very much in the game. He's a very emotional guy. But he has times when he gets into it with the other teams. And most of the time he keeps his head level, But I saw Cordero Patterson, a guy whom a couple years ago we were like, I don't know if his head's really in the game, if he really wants to be here. He comes over and does a mature fourth-year wide receiver thing and grabs Stephon Diggs and pushes him back. He doesn't even say anything to him. He just removes him from the situation. And I personally love that. I know. It was fantastic to watch, and that shows me that he wants to win, he cares about his team, and he's smart. And I like that a lot. So, Cordero Patterson, you had a day, sir. You get my game ball.
We've been really hard on Cordero in the past year on the show, but that's because we've all wanted to see him succeed. And he seems like, man, not giving him that contract extension, I think really made him realize that I'm expendable. And if I don't get this done, we got Stephon Diggs, we got Adam Thielen, we got other players.
I think you realized, too, sorry to interrupt, I think you realized we haven't seen a lot of Jarius Wright, and we drafted Laquan Treadwell. They're going to get rid of Jarius Wright if I'm a betting man, which I hate because I think Jarius Wright's a very good contributor. He's not a number 1 or 2 by any means, but he's a great slot guy. He's mature. He won us a game a couple years ago with Teddy against the Jets. So, I mean, he's made good plays, but he's getting older. We have better players, and I think Cordero sees that because him and Jarius Wright are very good friends. So, inside scoop, just me being the little guy that pays attention to the odd things, I think he realizes that him not getting a contract extension means play or go somewhere else. So I like it. I like it a lot. I like that he's finally coming into his own, and maybe one day he'll be worth that number 1 pick that we gave up.
Mm-hmm. And he's still got that cocky attitude that you were talking about. If you listen to his post-game press conference, one of the reporters was like, he made up some term. He told it like the Triple Crown, where you have a kick return for a touchdown at the Metrodome, TCF Bank Stadium, and now at US Bank Stadium. And Patterson instantly got cocky as shit, and he's like, "Yeah, say it again." And the reporter was like, "Triple Crown, touchdown at all of them." And Patterson's like, "Yeah, that's right. That's my new nickname. Y'all can call me Triple Crown." I don't know. I love that. I like. I'm a big Randy Moss fan, and I think that receivers should have that cockiness, that attitude to them.
Absolutely. They're gotta be able the divas.
Mm-hmm. They got to be able to back it up on the field, though, and we're seeing Patterson back it up on the field. Stephon Diggs backs it up on the field, and so I like that. I'm a big fan.
Fun fact before you get to yours, the nerd note of the day, as I steal from Mike and Mike from Hembo, who is their behind-the-scenes nerdy guy. With this kick return, he is officially tied for the franchise record with Percy Harvin. So I think he's at 5 or 6 now. So the dude's getting up there. He's nowhere near Devin Hester for NFL league-wide stuff, but
no one
he's
will
getting
leave.
there, man. We'll see how close he can get to that. But whenever he gets another one, which he damn well might get another one this year, he's going to be the franchise leader in kick return for touchdowns. So that's cool.
That's a good comment from Eric in the chat. We were tough on CPAC because Greg Jennings told us we were lucky. He was lucky to share a practice field with such a talent. Yeah, that's very true. The hype train was just immediate on Patterson, and it had a lot to do with, what the team gave up. They gave up a boatload of picks with New England to draft him. At the time, we had Ponder as the quarterback. AP was AP, and we were really looking for that down the field threat. And I think that the hype was just immediately out of control for quarterback. Yeah, that's right. That is why a lot of us were super tough on him. It wasn't fair, really, to judge what they gave up for Patterson, because no one player is ever going to live up to what the 4 draft picks they gave up for him or something like that.
Right.
Yeah. Anyway, let's move on. My game ball. I'll give him my game ball to Xavier Rhodes. He's the man I named the show after this week, because how can you not give to Xavier Rhodes 2 interceptions? One of them over 100 yards. What was it, like 106, 103-yard touchdown, pick 6. It was the first time he said since high school that he had a pick 6 for a touchdown. I'm only thing disappointed is that he didn't do a primetime and high step it into the end zone. Come on, Zay. You get the pick 6. You got to hold it up, man. You got to hold it up.
I agree.
Amazing game. We listed the stats a little bit that we had earlier with him. Carson Palmer with a 0.0 rating throwing in his direction. Rhodes is going to command a hell of a contract.
Yeah, he is. He's progressively gotten better, too. He keeps getting better and better. I don't like the injuries, but no offense to Sharif Floyd. Xavier makes his way on the field and makes his presence felt. I don't know what the hell's going on with Sharif, but I don't like the injury bug for Xavier, but most of the time he's out there, and when he comes out, he does ball out. So he's had a great year so far. Mm-hmm. But and then I don't think you have a donkey, sir. I think you had 2 game balls.
I don't. I have I gave my donkey to the sound guy, but I also have a bonus game ball that I got to give to Jeff Locke, just because we have been really hard on Jeff Locke, and he deserves all the recognition in the world for a 72-yard punt. You talk about it, a critical time in the game when the Vikings were punting. Had they given that ball back to Arizona on a short field, like if he would have had a crappy 30-yard punt that would have been returned for 15 yards, I mean, they could have already been in scoring position, and we could have lost the game right then and there. For Jeff Locke to come away with that 72-yard punt, probably the best punt of his career at the most opportune time for the Minnesota Vikings. You talk about winning this game in phases. You can look at defense with the pick 6 interception by Xavier Rhodes. You can look at special teams with that punt by Jeff Locke, and of course the kick return by Cordero Patterson. And you can look at offense with Adam Thielen, who had that amazing touchdown grab. That is this team coming together in all 3 phases with really big-time plays are the reason why we were able to snap that 4-game losing streak. So big shout-out to Jeff Locke. It's not too often we get to talk about the punter for doing things correctly. Usually it's really easy to rag on your punter because it's obvious when they're not doing things right. When they are doing things right, it's a little bit harder to talk about them. So I wanted to give a little extra shout-out to Jeff Locke for this week.
I love it. I absolutely love it, man. He needs to get the recognition. That was the best punt I've seen him kick so far, so that's awesome. So let's do a little bit of a game recap. I want to give you guys some numbers first, and it's not going to be a Viking stat. So Carson Palmer did throw 2 touchdowns this weekend. David Johnson is a monster. He caught a touchdown. He rushed for a touchdown. He had over 100 yards on the ground. It is what it is. He had 7 catches for 7 catches, 57 yards, 22 rushes, 103 yards. The guy's a monster, right? Mm-hmm. Carson Palmer was almost 50% completions with a 63.3 passer rating. Meanwhile, Sam Bradford, 1 touchdown, no picks, 98.7, 20-28. Much better. So Sam Bradford continues to he's I don't want to say he's game managing, because I'm not even going to start that debate between him and Teddy. They called Teddy a game manager, which I don't want to share my thoughts on all that crap because it really irritated me. But Bradford spreads the ball around again. He hits 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 receivers again. I think he's coming in and he's doing very well with what he has. He's very, very smart, and he's got the accuracy to put us in good positions. I love it. If people around him can make plays like Thielen did all the time, or can fight for yards after the catch like Patterson does, I love it, man. Absolutely love it. Sam Bradford plays well again, doesn't turn the ball over, and I don't know, he had a good day. We didn't have the best running day. 44 yards, 64 yards. So you have 73 yards total between 3 running backs. Meanwhile, David Johnson has 100 by himself. Sucks. Matt Asiata did get in the end zone. Him and Adam Thielen had some contested – it was funny. If you guys didn't watch, if you just hearing the updates from us, both the touchdowns from the air and the ground on offense had to be challenged because the referees were awful this game. They were awful. They were awful in Mexico City last night for the Raiders and the Texans. They were awful in our game. That's another subject we can talk about in a little bit. But
off-season topic right there.
Yeah, for you. Mike Zimmer definitely challenged both of those, and we won them. It was good. They were both accurate. That I'm glad that he didn't lose any of the timeouts or any of the challenges on it. But I've never seen in one game a coach have to challenge twice because the referee screwed up so bad. It's very, very annoying.
In the grander scheme of things, too, that touchdown that Adam Thielen caught, 2 feet inbounds, control all the way down. In the grander scheme of things, that's a pretty easy call. Like the refs should have got that one correct the first time on the field, because we've seen plays that were, in my opinion, a lot more difficult of a catch than that get called correctly. So I don't really understand why that was not called right in the first place. There's something officiating league wide is really frustrating.
I will make an unpopular comment here, but it is what it is. It stood. The game's over with and done. Not Patterson. Rhodes pick 6. There was definitely a hold from Kaplan Munnerlin, and it was not called. That was in our favor. Mm-hmm. There was definitely a shot on Sam Bradford that shouldn't have been a penalty because he lined up as a receiver, and he did. There was no leading with the crown of the helmet. It's just a really nice shove, I think, from Patrick Peterson. There was a call on us that was completely missed that went in Arizona's favor. I can't remember. It was the end of the game. But this inconsistency from the refs has to be one of the focal points that they focus on and they fix, because it's going to end up costing games. And a lot of people league-wide, like last night, I'll just give you an example. The Raiders improved. They have the best record in the AFC right now. They beat the Texans. They had a hard-fought game. It was a hard-fought win. But DeAndre Hopkins definitely scored a touchdown last night. I'll put my paycheck on it. And it was called out of bounds. And stuff like that affects games. That was a touchdown that you took away from the Texans, and they only lost by a touchdown. So eventually this is going to start costing games. And a lot of people are like, hey, man, this is rigged. And I'm starting to say, you know what? You can't really fault these people for saying stuff like that when the officiating is questionable like that.
I think the problem, and then we can get off on a little tangent here, is that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think NFL refs are considered part-time employees, not full-time. They should be part-time. They have there's a lot of rules in that rule book to know. They should be full-time. They should have full-time benefits, whatever. Is there a referees union? They ought to have a referees union if they don't have one. But another thing, too, is that I think this is in large part Roger Goodell and the competition committee's fault, because they put an emphasis every year on ridiculous things that don't need to be emphasized. Examples, excessive celebration calls, where they're going to make a point of emphasis is that we don't want to have excessive celebration calls. And so they got the referees so focused on looking for these other things that don't really matter, is that they seem to be missing other calls that do matter, whether it's touchdowns, whether it's hits. It's like we have to focus on what actually makes, what are the important calls in a game. here's another example. Here's one that I don't understand. They call let's say Stephon Diggs catches a pass. It's an amazing third down. It goes for a first down. And he catches it, and then he gets up and he spins the ball on the ground as he goes back to the huddle. And the referee is going to throw a flag for a delay of game call because he spun that ball on the ground, and they don't want that because they say it slows the game down. But if the referee would just pick the ball up and go to the huddle, it would take less time than what it takes for the referee to throw the flag, have a huddle with the other referees, pick up the flag, walk to wherever they got to walk, turn on his little stupid-ass microphone, stand in front of the audience and say, it's a delay of game, number 14, whatever penalty goes with that, and then start the game back up. If you'd have just picked the ball up in the first place, like you wouldn't, you're wasting more time by throwing a flag and making a big deal out of it than if you would just, okay, he made a big play, he spun a ball, let's get on with it. Like, let the players be players and be happy and excited. Like, that irritates me to no end because I see what they're doing, and it's like you're taking more time than what you should. Like, you're not helping what you think you're helping. Like, come on.
Yeah, the energy and the focus is on something stupid in my point, because I think, like, they say that they've improved. They've totally dropped the ball on, like, the domestic violence issue, stuff like that. They're more worried about people smoking pot and doing performance-enhancing drugs. Meanwhile, the Giants kicker was out there with a statement saying he did abuse his wife. And it took him forever to do something because the public outlashed and said, what the hell are you doing? And they focus on excessive celebrations and weed, and they don't focus on the things that they should, like the games and the important topics.
Yeah.
But that's a completely other thing. We got on a rant because it's what we do on Kyle Squared on the Pro Team podcast, because Adam's not here to adult us like he should.
People probably like our rants, right? I feel like if you don't want a player to celebrate in the end zone, play better on defense. Stop him. Don't let him score.
Cam Newton said it best last year. The Titans said, "We hate your dad. We don't like it." He said, "Don't let me score."
Don't let me score.
Fantastic thing to say. I love it. Yep. You know, as long as it's not derogatory or anything like that. You know, there's no like vulgar stuff. There's no middle fingers or any cutthroats or anything like that. I don't care what you do. Just go out and have fun. But back to the game. Sorry. Let's talk about the defense for a second. I didn't like this stat, even though he played a pretty decent game. Harrison Smith led the team in tackles with 9 with 1 assist. My boy Trey Waynes, even though he got a donkey, he had 6 tackles. Anthony Barr, Linval Joseph had 4 and on down the line. Harrison Smith had a sack. Danielle Hunter had 2 crucial sacks, one to win the game. Brian Robinson also had a sack. Captain Mutterland with the 4th fumble, which we recovered. So the defense played very well. Like we said many times, if you didn't watch this game, it's one of those you want to go back on YouTube and watch the highlights because they were all over Carson Palmer all day long. This is week 1 through 5 Viking football that you wanted to watch again. So the defense played very, very well. The Cardinals played pretty good on defense as well. They did have a couple of sacks, and I don't think they forced any turnovers, but it was just it was going to be a battle of the offensive lines that day. And surprisingly, with our patchwork we've had to do, I know there were some player rotations. We did pretty well. We protected Bradford enough to do the job. So the only thing I think we need to do is step up the running game and keep doing what we do in the passing game. But overall, the defense, in my opinion, was the heartbeat of this game. Yes, special teams did a good job. The offense was efficient, but defense was there all day and making their presence felt.
Defense is what makes this team work, and like so long as Mike Zimmer is the head coach, it's always going to be like defense first, and I'm okay with that. Well, you gotta have good defense in this league. Kyle Rudolph, I wanted to mention him really quick. He's got to do better in blocking schemes. You can see numerous examples throughout the course of his tenure with the Vikings. He's not that good of a blocker, and I know that he's probably the best pass-catching tight end that we have on the team. So it's difficult to take him off the field because you want to have that option for Sam Bradford. They have a good rapport with one another. He's an excellent target in the red zone. But you look at him just like as a pass-blocking tight end, and we have better options on the field or on the team than him. So he needs to, for the amount of money that he's making, I don't know how you work on that in the offseason, stand around and let someone punch you in the face with boxing gloves or something. I don't know what you do, but he needs to do a better job of pass blocking for sure. That's an area he needs to improve upon. Special teams, we'd be silly not to talk about the new kicker, Kai Forbath.
Saving the best for last, man.
What do you think? The debut as a Minnesota Viking.
Well, if you watch the game, the first field goal he made, the place erupted like Prince came back from the dead. It was hilarious. I don't like the the extra point that was blocked because we did win by 6, and if they would have scored a touchdown, they could have beat us by 1, and that would have only made things worse. He made all of his field goals and 3 or 4 extra points. I kind of figured there would be some kind of a miss there because it's just jumping into the team and making it, but every field goal that he made, right up the middle, and it made my heart happy. So
also, that one was blocked. That's not necessarily on him. I don't think. I'm not a special teams coach. I'm not Mike Prefer. Maybe it was on him. Maybe it was low or something. I don't know. But, blocking, you can say, okay, that was a breakdown in protection, whatever. Although it is funny to go into some of the large Viking groups and you see everyone saying the same thing as if that wasn't his fault. But had that been Blair Walsh, who had like a blocked...
Oh, yeah, they would have hung him from the street.
Which, rightfully so, whatever. What scares me about Mr. Forbath is that Blair had the big leg. He had the ability to boom it out of the back of the end zone basically every time. And you can tell that Forbath doesn't have that leg strength. They're dipping a little short. We've seen a couple of returns on them. That's going to, at some point, bite us in the ass this season. Like, there will be a crucial part in the game where we need to boot it out of the back of the end zone because it's a tight game. And we're going to accidentally end up giving another team good field position. And that's part of the game. You can say, well, there's that same chance with Blair Walsh. But I think Forbath should be good to get us through for the rest of the season. After this offseason, be expecting drafting a kicker or signing a kicker, like more kicker-related conversation in Minnesota is definitely going to happen.
You know what? I disagree with you, sir. I think I'm going to become the general manager of the Vikings over the season, and this is going to be the first draft in NFL history where we take all offensive linemen. So I don't care what anybody says. That's what we're doing.
Okay with that, too. We'll draft a kicker who can block.
I don't mind them signing a kicker. I think Forbath will do fine. I think he's a seasoned vet. Obviously, there's a reason he was let go. But as long as he can make the field goals, I think he'll be all right. It's the field goals that were missed that are a problem. Extra points, league-wide, have been high in misses this year. So It's not just his fault. It's not just Blair's fault. But 3 points over 0 is a lot worse than only missing out on 1 point for an extra point. Field goals win games. And if you don't believe me, go ask the 2005 or the 2004 Patriots. That would change a legacy forever with Tom Brady and the Panthers, or playing the Panthers in that Super Bowl. It comes down to that sometimes. It comes down to a playoff game against Seattle last year, So I'm not as worried about the extra points, but if he can just stick with making the field goals, cool. You are right to a point, man. I think these kickoffs might be a problem, but maybe Mike Prefer can help him out. He did mention when we brought him in, he's like, look, I have to evaluate this guy. I can't just go in and say, hey, I need you to change this. By the way, I've only seen you kick twice, in my life because I've never studied you. He said, I'm going to need to see him kick 1,000 times before I can really go in and tweak his method. But I'm always here for him to give advice. I just want him to do what he's comfortable doing. So I love that advice from Mike Prefer because I watched his press conference that day, or his presser, whatever you call it. But yeah, overall, Kai Forbath, hey, man, you made a good first impression. If you're going to make field goals, people in Minnesota are going to love you right now. So I'm all right with that.
For sure. Let's see here. What do we have left? We talked about defense. Pretty
Skull Vikes 5, welcome to the chat. Scott Schwab's in here making good points about Kai Forbath. So yeah, I welcome them to the chat, Skull Vikes 5. But yeah, I don't know, man. This kicker thing, it's a little. I don't say it's overplayed because Blair definitely needs a change of scenery. He'll be back. He'll play again next year for someone. But as far as us and having a kicker, I don't know if we're going to draft one, but we'll have to see how the rest of the season plays out.
Oh.
Knock on wood, hopefully we don't have anything happen like we did this year or last year. So,
I mean, let's set realistic expectations here. He's going to miss at some point. That's going.
Yeah.
I mean, it's going to happen. So I just hope that when he does, people don't instantly turn on him. Like, you got to understand that, like, missing is a part of the game too. And it reached a point with Walsh where it wasn't reliable, and he looked visibly shaken every time he was on the field. But I forgot where I was going with that. Just don't be too hard on the guy. Is my long story short.
Yeah, I think we covered the defense, man. We could do a little game preview for Thursday. So I'm in the Mountain Time Zone. I hate short weeks now that I have listened to a lot of the players and a lot of the national shows. Colin Cowherd, you guys know I'm a huge fan of him. Just for player safety, for the NFL to be such a joke, because I will crap all over the NFL all day long because they're hypocrites. You preach player safety, but you have these guys beating the hell out of each other for 60 minutes on Sunday, beating their bodies to no end. They need a minimum of 6 days to recover, and you're putting them out there 4 or 5 days later. It's totally terrible for their body.
You give them a short week, and then not only that, but you make them play like in that game in Mexico, where they're at a way high elevation, where players.
Dude, it's no joke down here. It is no joke. I'm in El Paso, and the elevation's like 3,000 or 4,000 feet. It's terrible.
It's higher than what it is in Denver, and they call that the Mile High Stadium. I mean, they're talking about how players have to have oxygen in the locker room, like between games and shit. And like you were going to talk about player safety, like the reason why we want kickoffs moved, the 25-yard line, whatever, is for player safety reasons. Like, okay, like just come on out and just admit that you want more offense. Like you've seen when the Patriots had that high-flying offense where they're scoring and putting up all the points, and people were tuning in and watching. Just admit that you want to have more high-flying offensive-based football. Like, don't lie about it. Don't lie and say player safety. Well, I will respect you more, Roger Goodell, if you just admit that.
They'll never say it because they want to present that image, but you're right. And
I will say this. Here's another rant really quick, too. If they're serious about player safety, you allow all 54 players to dress on game day, and you do not have to have an inactive, 40... What's the inactive list? What do they cut down? 48? Something silly like that. You allow all 54 to dress on game day because you enter situations where if there are injuries in a game where you have to play players out of position, and when you play a player out of position where he doesn't know what's going on, that leads to a higher risk of a player getting injured, as well as if you have injuries and then you're having someone playing more snaps than what they should normally be playing, that also leads to a player getting injured. And I, for one, think that if you allow all 54 to dress on game day, that allows you to have more specialized roles in the team, and that lets fringe players like a Cordero Patterson or like a Devin Hester, who make a name for themselves on special teams, to be able to contribute each and every game, because then they're active on game day. And that's my little side tangent on that one as well, too.
Well, I love it. We can all agree about that. I'm glad that somebody else thinks that the player safety and the upper echelon of the NFL is a joke, because it's all about money, TV ratings, and money. Mm-hmm. So whatever, TV contracts, all that crap. So Roger Goodell, you can eat glass. I don't care. I'll say it. So I'm going to go ahead and tie my bold statement in with this game preview. The Vikings are going to win the NFC North on Thursday. Like I said earlier in the show, the Bears lost Jay Cutler. I'm very confident in the Vikings winning at home against a Jay Cutler-less Bears. Mm-hmm. We do go to Green Bay, which is always tough on Christmas Eve. They just don't look like themselves, and if the defense can play like they have, I don't see that being a problem. They don't have Eddie Lacy, so if we have to run the ball, I'll take that over. I'll take whoever we have, probably AP, and then the rest of our crew over James Starks, because that just doesn't terrify me. We have to win Thursday to go to the playoffs. I don't know if anybody else realizes that, but there are other teams that we've beaten, a.k.a. the New York Giants, who are going to make the playoffs before we do, because they're sitting at 7-3 right now, unlike us at 6-4, because we had a rough month from October to November. And it's frustrating because we beat some of these teams, But we have to win the NFC North on Thursday on the road. And if it was at home, I'd feel a little bit more confident. Detroit is not a team to sleep on, but I don't think that we will go back to the losing ways because we know who we are. We know what we have to do to win. And that's my bold statement of the week. I think once we lock that down, we'll split with Detroit. We can beat everyone else. We can split with the Bears and, sweep the Packers, which is odd. Can you imagine that? If we win the rest of our division games, we will have split with Detroit and Chicago, but have swept Green Bay if that happens for some weird reason. That's odd. But,
I know.
Yeah, that's my bold statement, man. You guys, it's going to be 10:30 Mountain Time where I'm at, so 12:30 Eastern, 11:30 Central on Thursday. So we got the early game going on, which is exciting. I have plans to go eat turkey with my boss and his family, but if they're doing it at that time during the game, I'm going to have to make sure that game's on. Otherwise, I might be having to come later because I don't miss, especially when I'm off work too. I don't miss Viking games. So I'm excited. This is going to be a battle. Like I said, don't sleep on Detroit, but I don't foresee it coming down to missing field goals and having a heartbreaker like we did last time. We were very much in the game last time. And you have to remember, here's a key stat. We just had Pat Shurmur take over the offense that week when Detroit was around. So it should be a little bit different than a month ago when we played them.
Can we talk about, really quick, I forgot to mention it, that play where it was the reverse that Sam Bradford threw the pass out of? I like that formation. That was a nice little spin on that.
I absolutely hate it because I don't want to get his head taken off, but if it throws the defense off, and Sam talked about that today in his presser, he said, I wouldn't say that it's any more or less than any other team. Philly was up-tempo, and this is Sam Bradford's words. I'm paraphrasing a little, but he said, I wouldn't say that it's any more or less of the trick plays or the up-tempo. He's like, but anything that we can do to keep the defense guessing, we're going to do it. So, hey, I'm all for it if it works. If you're taking negative plays every time you do a Wildcat, I'm going to tell you to cut that crap out. But it kept the defense on their toes, and he almost scored a touchdown with that, if I remember correctly, right?
Yeah, and that was when I think Asiata ended up pounding it in for the touchdown. A couple plays after that. I don't know. I like what Shurmur's doing with the offense. It's the middle of the season. You're not going to toss the playbook out and put in a whole
No, absolutely
not. You got to run what the team's good at running, and he wants to be here, and apparently North Turner didn't, so that's going to make all the difference in the world right there. As for Detroit is tough. No matter who you're playing, it's a common opponent. You play them a lot. You study a lot. Each team prepares extra hard for division opponents. Detroit is always a team with Matthew Stafford, like we were talking about before the show, where Stafford is one of these quarterbacks that at any given time he can have a 3-touchdown performance. He's also can have a 3-interception performance, seemingly just as easy too. So you never quite know what you're going to get with him. So you got to be on the lookout for Matthew Stafford. Really important game. Short week for the Vikings. I think they'll be fine. They'll be ready to play tough and ready to go. I think they understand how important it is. If you listen to Brian Robinson on Vikings.com, there's a video of him talking to the team. Gives a really emotional speech afterwards. So the veterans on this team, I think, are doing a good job of making sure everyone understands just how important of a game that this is.
Yeah, it's gonna be a good game. It's gonna be a crucial game. My stress level is gonna be up for that, but I think they're up for the challenge. Everybody hates a short week, but you play the schedule that you're dealt. So I think the week after that we play the Cowboys on Thursday Night Football again. So
December 1st.
We won't have December 1st. Let me look at the schedule real quick. Let me pull up this Vikings app. I swear.
Well, you're pulling that up. One of these games coming up is the Color Rush game. I don't know which Thursday night game it is. Does anyone know in the chat that if it's the one against Detroit? Because I'm looking forward to seeing the Color Rush jerseys. I think they look really cool. I got my eye on an Adam Thielen one that I want to check out.
That's correct, sir. That is going to be Thursday, December 1st, 6. So it's going to be at 8:25 Eastern, 7:25 Central. Cowboys come to the Vikings on Thursday night. So we have 2 weeks in a row of Thursday football. It'll be Thursday night next week, not Thursday afternoon. So that's really –
Has that ever happened?
I think it's happened before. I'm sure it has.
I mean,
for us, I can't remember a specific stretch for this team, but I'm sure it's happened before.
It seems like an odd thing to have back-to-back Thursday night football games like that. I suppose, though, given the short week, maybe they wanted to give us extra time. I don't know. I'm okay with that, I guess.
I mean, you got to realize too, like we were a hyped team coming into this year, so we're going to have more. We're going to have more games like that.
Prime
so.
Time. I want that six-legged turkey too.
I got it for you. I'm sorry. Eric Grendall's got a good comment in the chat. It's funny. I'm looking right now. I just Googled it. Check out the Vikings 2016 Color Rush uniforms the team will wear for the December 1st game at US Bank Stadium against the Cowboys. Okay. So I'll try to pull it up here because my Vikings app is coming up. So it's going to be this is going to look really crappy doing this on here, but I really don't care. So if you guys can see, if it loads up, it's going to be the purple with the yellow letters. Not too really bad. Cool. Some people don't like them. Some people do. But that's what's going to be going on against the Cowboys next week on Thursday, December 1st. But I think that's it, man. I think that's it for the show. We got a win. We got out of the stupid losing skid we were on to teams we should have beaten. So I'm really happy about that. And it wasn't just a give-me game against Arizona. They're a decent team. So I'm happy. I'm ready for this game on Thursday. I love it when we have football close together. Yeah,
let's plug some shit here at the end of the show. Let's remind everyone, you're on YouTube right now, subscribe and hit that thumbs up button for us. That helps us out a lot, and we thank you for doing that. You can also find us on Facebook.com/Purple People Podcast. We post stuff throughout the week. Interact with us, share the stuff. We love talking to you. You can message us. Someone will message you back. Probably Kyle Smith. He's good at doing that.
Mm-hmm.
You can check me and Adam Carlson out over on the VikingAge.com, where we write articles. We write words about the team. Adam is good. Adam is on the ball. He writes all kinds of awesome stuff about the team, and periodically I say some shit, and people are like, wow. That's an opinion, and then they just leave negative comments. But that's okay. You can come leave me negative comments too. I am okay with that. We have some Twitter handles. You can find us at Purple People Pod on Twitter. Someone checks that periodically. I check it sometimes. Let's see here. Adam Carlson is at NN Vikings Zombie. That's Adam. He tweets about Vikings and The Walking Dead. My Twitter handle is at Inhuman Witch. I talk about Vikings football and whatever the hell else I'm doing throughout the course of the day. Work in an antique store. I post lots of weird photos, so you should give that a looky-loo. Mr. Smith,
I don't
plug your stuff.
I don't really get on the Twitter machine that much. I like it. I just don't have a lot of friends. So first off, I want to say I said I don't have a lot of friends. That sounded really sad and emo. I don't have a lot of friends on Twitter that I interact with. I follow more of the celebrities, but shout out to the Erics, Sean Reynolds, Skull Vikes 5, Scott Schwab. Did I miss anybody else in there? I don't think so. Those are most of the guys that are in the chat. Thank you guys for coming to the chat. It was actually a long conversation today, so it's pretty sweet. I think Scott is going to the airport. He's going to visit family. He told us so. Have a safe flight, sir. Thank you for coming in. Skull to all you fans that came in and joined us today. I'll plug my stuff. If you're looking on the video right now, just follow this little link right here. That's my YouTube music page. I am going to be trying out for The Voice in March. I got an email, if you guys haven't heard already, from one of the talent scouts while I was deployed this year in Kuwait. So March 1st, I will be heading to Dallas to do a producer's audition. So you want to see some of the stuff that I have there. There's country, there's rock, there's R&B, soul stuff on there. I play a little guitar. I'm more of a singer than that. But, yeah, you can check that out if you get bored. Check out thevikingage.com. Kyle and Adam write good stuff. I know we plugged it already, but I have to say it again. I get a lot of my articles, a lot of different points of views and updates from there. When something happens, Adam and Kyle are usually the first ones on it. So good stuff on there. If you like the zombie stuff, go and The Walking Dead, Undead Walking for Adam Carlson. He's all about that. I need to get on the ball. I'm eventually going to watch The Walking Dead, I swear. I'll probably when football season's over. Kyle West sells stuff, photography stuff sometimes if he's not writing for the Viking Age now, which he just got a new gig on, so congratulations on there. But The main thing we got to plug, the YouTube page. Kyle already hit it. I won't beat it too hard, but follow us on here so we can make it better. We need 1,000 subscribers at a minimum. So we're a third of the way there thanks to you guys. That's all I got, man. I'll let you close the show out. Everyone have a fantastic Thanksgiving. Watch the game. Eat a lot of food. Enjoy company with friends and family. And stay safe.
One more thing to plug. I forgot to mention it for a couple weeks now. I have another podcast if you guys really want to listen to me talk about stuff. You can find me on Facebook.com/Same Page Podcast, all one word. Me and my friend Missy, we talk about all kinds of strange and unusual things. We're about 4 episodes in, so we're starting to get a good head of steam rolling. We record once a week. We try to record every Sunday. We talk about lots of stuff, lots of interesting stuff. We've done flat Earth theory. There are people who think the Earth is flat. They are insane, and they are crazy, crazy folk. They think that there's a ring of ice that goes all the way around the edge of the Earth, and that NASA guards this ring to keep people from climbing over the top of it. We talk about that for a full episode. We got an interesting one where we talk about medical oddities. That's a cool one. So like conjoined twins and like werewolf syndrome and cool things like that. That was our Halloween episode. So if you're looking for something a little bit different than the Purple People podcast, come listen to me and my friend Missy. Give us a chat over on the Same Page Podcast. That's a lot of fun. And I think that will do it for the week. I will steal a page from Adam Carlson and stay quiet.